Good morning, guys. Tony here. Well, camping season is upon us. There's a lot more Class A's, Class B's, Class C's, travel trailers, fifth wheels out on the road. So that brings me to my next point. I want to talk a little bit about RV safety this morning. Last week I was called out to evaluate the damage in an accident between one of my company's trucks and trailers involving a Class A motorhome. The Class A motorhome actually rear-ended one of our trucks, full speed, no skid marks. So the assumption is the driver never had time to react, hit the brakes. The people in the Class A motorhome are expected to be okay, but they had to be cut out of that motorhome. Not a place you want to be. They were extremely lucky. That brings me to my next point. When you're driving something of this size, pulling a travel trailer, fifth wheel, Class B, Class C, you're in a lot larger vehicle. This does not react the same way as your family sedan. This is not grandma's car. You have to pay attention. You have to keep your eyes moving. You have to scan the road ahead of you. Always give yourself an extreme amount of following distance to allow yourself the time to react in an emergency situation. Don't follow too close. You will not have time to stop. Keep your distance. When you think you've got enough distance, slow down some more. Always keep enough room for at least a tractor trailer to get in between you and the vehicle in front of you. Scan the intersections before you get to them. Look right, look left, cover your brake before you go into an intersection. That way you will be able to react in maybe a timely manner to where you can actually stop before making contact with the person who didn't see the red light, who pulled out in front of you in traffic, pulled out of a side road. Give yourself an out. Always leave yourself an out. A place where you can safely maneuver your vehicle away from what could be a catastrophic day. These types of vehicles do not stop on a dime. They just can't. They're too big. They're too heavy. You get your tanks full of water. You've got all your gear inside. Your vehicle is extremely heavy. You have to almost drive this like a commercial vehicle. Leave yourself plenty of room. Always leave yourself plenty of room to maneuver. Never go down someplace and get yourself into a situation where you can flip this over by trying to turn it around or drop your trailer off the side of the road. That's a place you guys don't want to be. Always make sure you have an out. I can't preach this hard enough, long enough. Hopefully, some of the things I'm going to touch base with you on this morning here will help you. Now see, in that Class A motorhome, for instance, that's all you have between you and what you're about to run into. A little bit of fiberglass, a little bit of insulation, two big picture windows to give you front row seat to what's about to happen. That's not a place you want to be either. Because you were definitely first on the scene if you rear-end somebody. Now, with that being said, let's move on to a few key points here. First thing I want to talk about is tire pressure. Always check your tire pressure before each trip. Check your tire pressures en route. Check your tire pressures when you stop. You stop to take a little break, walk around your coach, walk around your travel trailer, walk around your fifth wheel, your Class B, your Class C. Check your tires. Look for anything out of the ordinary. Look for flat spots, look for bulges, look for steel belts hanging out. Look for anything around that tire that could cause a problem. Check your lug nuts periodically. Now, a lot of people run simulators. Understood, you're not really going to see too much behind them simulators. But if you have a simulator, at least once a week, pull those simulators off, look around for loose lug nuts. Key way to check for a loose lug nut is look for rust trails coming from your lug nuts on your rim. That's one way, easy way, that you can tell that you might have a problem with a loose lug nut. Also, when you got your simulators off, check your hubs. Make sure you're not leaking hub grease out of your bearings, because that will cause another bad day. You seize a bearing, it's liable to cause your tire to lock up, put you out of control. That's someplace you don't want to be either. Now, that's something you should check at least once a week when you're running simulators. Ideally, you should check them every day to make sure you're not leaking any kind of fluids like that out of there. Also, check your brake lines on your motorhomes, especially the older coaches, even the newer coaches. It doesn't really matter. You can have catastrophic failure with any brake line. These are made out of thin metal, thin wall metal that runs your hydraulic fluid through your brake lines. Periodically crawl under your motorhome. Look around for any moisture at any of your connecting parts on your lines where they come into your calipers, any of your brake chambers. Look for any kind of moisture around that. That could be that could be a first sign of a leak, a small problem that can be corrected easily and fairly cheap. Also, just kind of inspect all your brake lines. They're easy to find. And it takes you a few minutes. A few minutes is better than costing you a fortune down the road. A few minutes of checking your brake lines to look for anything that could cause a problem. Your family's worth that. I know mine is. So keep that in mind. Also, with your travel trailers and your fifth wheels, same principle. Most of you guys don't run simulators on those. Look for any kind of rust or anything coming from your lug nuts. Check your hub seals. And a lot of the newer travel trailers and fifth wheels, you guys have little caps, and no more than a screwdriver. Pop that little cap off. Look, make sure your hub bearings have got grease. Make sure that it's not sliming all over your rim, because that's one thing it can cause axle failure by the bearing overheating. It can also cause you a bad day. Always check your lights. Always make sure you got good connection with all your wiring. Whether you're in a motorhome, travel trailer, fifth wheel, Class B, Class C, you're towing anything, always make sure your connections are tight. Always make sure your wiring harness is connected. Also, if you are using a fifth wheel or running a fifth wheel setup, when you hook up and you think you've got it hooked up, walk behind your truck, stoop down, don't bump your head, look back there. When you pull your lock pin back into the locking position, make sure those jaws have closed around the kingpin. The kingpin is the big round pipe looking thing that comes down out of the nose of your fifth wheel. And it's got a little groove in it. Those jaws ride in that little groove, and it's got another little fatter lip, and those basically run inside of that. Make sure those are greased. Make sure those jaws are locked. That can help so keep you from having a bad day. Same way with your travel trailer. Always make sure you keep your ball hitch lubricated. That way, one, it doesn't wear out your ball. Two, it doesn't overheat your receiver. There you go. These little steps here will help ensure that you'll have a problem-free trip. Now, also, check your headlights. Check your wipers. Always clean your windows. Clean your mirrors. Wash your mirrors, wash your windows before every trip. Wash your mirrors, clean your windows during your trip. Always be able to make sure you can see clearly out of your windows, out of your mirrors, because the last thing you want to do is not be able to see out of your mirror and go to make a lane change and hit somebody else that you didn't see because your window was dirty or your mirrors were dirty. These simple steps will help you be safe on the road. Also, check your fluids, especially in your motorhomes and even in your tow vehicle. Check your fluids, check your transmission fluid, check your oil, check your antifreeze, check your overflows, washer fluid, brake fluid. Make sure all these things are topped off. That will keep you from having a bad day, and also could keep you from having a very costly day. When you're hooking to your trailers, whether you have a tow dolly, tow bar, fifth wheel setup, always make sure your safety chains and your brake mechanisms are connected, your safety breakaway. Make sure all these things are connected. Because last thing you want to do is have your trailer running off, your tow dolly running off, or your towed car if you're flat towing. Always make sure your connections are safe. Preventative maintenance is one key factor to making sure you have a safe trip to and from. It doesn't take long to walk around your vehicle. One thing you should always get into practice of, even after you've checked your vehicle, before you took off on your trip, periodically pull over. You're stopping anyway to take a break. Walk around your equipment, check your tires, because when they heat up, you can cause a knot. If you have a weak spot in your tire, it can cause a knot. That's going to cause you a big problem. And trust me, you don't want one of these big tires blown out on your motorhome, travel trailer, because they do cause a lot of damage. And 5 minutes of your time could have saved you $5,000 or more, or saved you from totaling out your rig. But always be mindful and keep your eyes on the road. There's no rush out here. We're RVing. We got no rush. We have no reason to be in a big hurry to do things unsafe. Do not let others on the road intimidate you into doing things that's unsafe. Drive comfortably. Do not drive beyond your ability. Do not push your equipment beyond what it was designed to do. If your truck's not big enough to pull that trailer, don't be pulling that trailer with that truck. It's an accident waiting to happen. Also, you don't want to be riding down the road and have to get out of a sticky situation and whip the wheel at a high rate of speed in something of this stature. These vehicles are very, very top heavy. And they're even worse in the wind, top heavy. If you have to whip the wheel to avoid something that if you would have kept your following distance, that you could have come to a safe stop without the swerve, the swerving can cause you to roll this over. You will flip this. And when you flip this, it will not be pretty. This is fiberglass. I don't think it's going to hold up very well when you flip over on its top. It's just going to, you're going to be sitting there with a steering wheel and maybe what's left of a seat, because it's actually mounted into the actual metal part of the frame area of your motorhomes. Same way with a travel trailer or a fifth wheel. Or even if you're towing a vehicle, you do not want to whip that wheel, because then you are a combination vehicle. Now you have 2 units out of control. Not what you want to happen. Wet roads, slow down, increase your following distance even more. Give yourself plenty of time for braking. When you're running electric brake setups on your fifth wheels, your tow dollies, your travel trailers, if you jab the brake too hard, you're liable to cause your brakes to lock up on your towed, your travel trailer, fifth wheel, tow dolly, whatever it may be. And if those lock up, they have a tendency to fold up and come around you. That's what's called a jackknife, and you don't want that. That can flip you over in a minute. That can take you off the road. That can cause you to hurt somebody in another vehicle beside you, around you, or just hurt yourself. You don't want to hurt yourself either. You know? So take your time. Never get in a rush. Last week when I did this evaluation of the damage between the tractor trailer and the motorhome, I did do a video, and I had every intention of trying to share this with you to maybe shed some light on what can and could happen if you do not drive safely, and double check and make sure that your equipment's safe to be on the road. But I don't think I want to do that. I don't want to I want to respect these people's privacy in this matter. I will, however, show you some footage of the trailer, but I'm not going to show you anything of the motorhome, just to respect these folks' privacy. Now, the trailer, it's a little messed up, so with that being said, I'll show you the damage the motorhome lost. Loaded tractor trailer, not so much. This is what happens when a Class A motorhome meets a stopped tractor trailer on the highway. Not a whole lot of damage to the trailer, but people in the motorhome had to be cut out. Yeah, so who lost this battle here? The Class A motorhome lost this battle. People involved are going to be okay. They got lucky this time. But this is what happens when your motorhome slams into a fully loaded truck. It ripped the bumper off. Did some little wrinkling on the sidewall here. mangled up some doors. I apologize for the wind. Wasn't planning on really doing a little video here, but this was something that I thought was relevant to share with everyone. Pay attention. Keep good following distance, or this could happen to you. Like I said, this door here is completely split off. It sheared the actual bolts, latches to hold the trailer doors shut. So, made a real big mess. But I will not share, like I said, I'm not going to share these people's hardship by posting the damage to their vehicle as a reminder of what happened to them. They were there. They know what happened. So, but like I said, hopefully you guys will listen to some of what I've told you here, and I hope this helps. Always leave yourself plenty of following distance. Always give yourself ample time to get where you got to go. Nothing's worth hurrying and not making it home. Nothing's worth hurrying and hurting one of your loved ones. There's no reason for it. Take your time. You get there when you get there. Do it safe. Guys, I want to say thanks for watching. I hope this wasn't too much of a downer and kind of a preach session to you. I just wanted to bring this kind of awareness to you. This is things that I see on a daily basis. Not always with a motorhome, but people not paying attention and hurting themselves and hurting others by getting in a hurry, playing with your phones, playing with your GPSs. That stuff can wait. The most important thing is you, your family, and those around you. Everybody's got loved ones, and we'd all like to see everybody make it home. Until next time, guys, always live your adventure. Like, subscribe, share to this video. Remember, check us out, rollingwiththebowens.com, over on Instagram, and we'll see you soon.